responsibility.
Finishing this fight.
Hello everyone, and welcome into the Lore Council. This is Cade, and today we will be discussing how power scaling ruined Revan. So Revan, the character that we all know and love from the Knights of the Old Republic series, used to be a blank slate. Then they evolved into a super well-developed and well-written and well-thought-out character, with the addition of Knights of the Old Republic 2 and the backstory and the motivations that we get for Revan. So to summarize, Revan originally was the player character blank slate for Knights of the Old Republic 1. Revan's actions are our actions. Revan's gender is undetermined. And Revan's actions are undetermined because we, the player, make them for them. They are the typical RPG blank slate that you imprint your stats onto. All of their dialogue is chosen by you, and every single action is done by the player. To be light or dark, or somewhere in the middle because you can't make up your damn mind on who you want to fry with Force Lightning, is completely up to you. However, in Knights of the Old Republic 2, we get more depth and we get more nuance to Revan. Why they fell to the dark side, why they decided to fight against the Mandalorians. And it is because of Knights of the Old Republic 2 that Revan became a well-written character. It wasn't because of Knights of the Old Republic 1. It wasn't because of the actions they took in that game, because those were all up to the player. All we know from that game is that Revan chose to fight against the Mandalorians, fell to the dark side, and invaded the Republic. Knights of the Old Republic 2 is where we got all of the depth, all of the nitty-gritty, fun information that makes the character so well written and awesome. And while yes, Knights of the Old Republic 1 did give Revan a very iconic look with the mask and the robes and the cape and the lightsaber and everything, it fell to the shoulders of Obsidian writing Knights of the Old Republic 2 to turn Revan into the awesome character that we know and love. And for many years, that's the reason that Revan was such a fan-favorite character, because they were a very different character than any other Star Wars character we had seen up to that point. They chose to fall to the dark side to try and fight for a greater good. It continued the story of the ancient Sith Empire from the Tales of the Jedi comics, and it was really, really cool. And it was very, very foreboding and very, very dark, which was, for Star Wars at the time, very cool and pretty refreshing. The game also gave us interesting takes on the Force and what it meant to be a Force user. And all of that changed with the release of the Revan novel, and then the subsequent MMO that featured Revan, and is supposed to be a continuation of Revan's story, although it doesn't serve as well as BioWare had hoped. In the novel and MMO, Revan's actions that were given to us in Knights of the Old Republic 2 are very much downplayed, and I have a whole video on that which is linked in the description, and you should definitely check that out if you're interested in the history of Revan as a written character. Tristan and I also made a follow-up video to that discussing whether Revan needs Knights of the Old Republic 2 or not, so watch that one as well. Consider it prerequisite viewing for this much shorter video. Needless to say, the MMO and novel reveal that Revan's actions weren't because of any intrinsic goodness in their heart to fight against the old Sith Empire, and they're very much discounted. And that's about the best summary that I can give. Revan goes from a very well-written character to a mind-controlled slave that got away from their master. However, because of this, Revan was also given this weird mark as someone who existed within the Force as a almost entity who sat in between the light and dark and used them in perfect balance and was a gray Jedi. Again, take a look at the video that I've done on gray Jedi in the description as well, if you're confused at all to what they truly are, as opposed to what YouTubers would have you believe. Revan also got from this novel and MMO this reputation of being an all-powerful Force user who could kick anybody's ass. And subsequently, he was put into power scaling things, and he was used for hypothetical versus matches, which is totally fine in and of themselves. They're usually based on the content creator's opinion and don't really harm anyone or anything, and can spark some pretty fun discussions as well. But then because of these videos and the power scaling where people put Revan and feats lists and respect threads and all of these things kind of culminating together in some kind of evil stew of overrating, Revan became a character that people liked not because they were well written or they had a very compelling story behind them. They became liked because they were a cool looking character with cool robes and a red and purple lightsaber who uses the Force perfectly balanced. As the novel says, Revan is able to unleash the Force in its purest form using the light and dark side. And this is all people see. This is all people care about. This is the only reason Revan has become the popular character in the kind of zeitgeist that is the Star Wars community. People don't appreciate Revan because of how well written KOTOR 2 made Revan. They like Revan because they're a flashy character who turned a Sith Lord to ash by redirecting their lightning back at them, because he says cool things like, "I am Revan reborn, and before me you're nothing," and he fights against the Sith Emperor, and he unleashes the purest form of the Force, and he's got a red and purple lightsaber, and he looks cool, and he has a stupid storyline where his light and dark side splits, and he becomes a bipolar Force ghost zombie thing that completely beats you over the head with this thing that the fan community basically created. And yes, in the Knights of the Old Republic 2, Revan is hyped up. Kreia says that Revan is like looking into the heart of the Force. So that must mean Revan is super powerful. Well, sure. In his day and age, Revan was a very powerful Force user. But that doesn't matter. What matters is how Revan is written. What matters is what the characters say about Revan. What matters is what we as the players chose for Revan to do. It doesn't matter how many times Revan uses the Force to redirect lightning back at Darth Nihilus, or to fight the Sith Emperor and shoot magical pure Force energy. What matters is Obsidian was able to take this character, who was a blank slate, and imprint onto them cool motivations, interesting writing. All of those things are what made Revan cool, not how powerful they were. Revan is not an anime character. Revan doesn't need to be on a power ranking list to be cool. Revan doesn't need to have a red and purple lightsaber and use the Force in perfect balance to be cool. Revan is cool because they are an interesting, well-written character. And that's what Revan should have remained as. So to conclude this video, I would love to ask the question, why do you like the character Revan? Is it because you saw a video by some YouTuber saying that he's the most powerful Force user ever? Or because he looks cool and has a red and purple lightsaber? Or do you like Revan because he's a well-written, interesting character? Because those two things are nearly irreconcilable. And I would love to hear your discussions in the comments below. So leave a comment, and if you've liked this video or any that we've put out in the past, we are trying to grow the channel, so subscribe and a like really goes a long way. This has been Cade from the Lore Council, signing off.